In modern drawings, men and women smile. One woman waves a red, white, and blue flag.
On a hot August afternoon in 1797, cheering Philadelphians lined the waterfront to greet a visitor from Poland, Thaddeus Kosciuszko. Wounded and sick, he's the hero of two revolutions. One an ill-fated struggle in his homeland, and the American Revolution.
A drawing of the young Kosciuszko with full hair and wide eyes.
Who is this Polish general that Americans cheer? He was the son of landowning gentry and a friend of peasants. Kosciuszko became a military cadet in Warsaw and studied art in France. He was deeply troubled by the Russian oppression of his homeland, yet there was no place for him in the Polish army.
An American village scene.
His thoughts turned to America, where men with the will to be free were building a new homeland.
British redcoats.
But America also knew the footsteps of the tyrant's boot. 1776. Revolution. Kosciuszko resolved to offer his skills to the untrained, unsure American freedom fighters.
Near a pier, he carries two suitcases.
No cheers greet 30-year-old Kosciuszko on his first arrival in Philadelphia from Europe in 1776. But he is welcome and needed. Hovering off the coast is the largest invasion force in British history, ready to crush America's hopes. Kosciuszko is made a colonel of engineers and is sent to plan fortifications along the Delaware River to keep the British ships from Philadelphia.
A map of the Delaware River.
He carefully draws his plans. Then he makes them reality, with measuring and digging, with mud, blisters, and perspiration. His unique skills are recognized, and at a reception in Philadelphia, he meets a man who will be his lifelong friend, General Horatio Gates. The young Pole is given a challenge: protect Fort Ticonderoga in Upper New York from British troops. Put cannon on Sugarloaf Hill, warns Kosciuszko. Whoever controls that hill dominates Ticonderoga. But Kosciuszko's advice is ignored. Instead, it is the British who fortify Sugarloaf, forcing the Americans to abandon Ticonderoga. With their fierce Iroquois Indian allies, the British pursue.
Attacking Indians. Men use axes to chop trees.
Kosciuszko's men block their way by felling giant pines, flooding swampy meadows, and tearing up bridges. The exhausted Americans can run no further. They stop on a Hudson River island which Kosciuszko hastily fortifies. The retreat is over.
Gates and Kosciuszko study a map.
General Gates orders Kosciuszko to choose a place for a stand against the oncoming British. Kosciuszko picks Saratoga. Again, Kosciuszko takes to the field, carefully planning fortifications, redoubts, trenches, blockhouses.
British attack from a trench.
In September and October, British General John Burgoyne and his troops strike. But the brave Americans rout them, and 5,800 British soldiers surrender.
Gates accepts a sword from a British officer.
It is a major victory and a turning point in the war.
Now a rowboat on a wide river.
But there is little time to rest. The British still threaten the Hudson Valley. Kosciuszko is sent to protect West Point. A giant 60-ton chain is stretched across the river to block ships. For 2 years, his men dig, build, sweat.
Men grit their teeth and haul lumber, use pickaxes and pound hammers.
What they build will be called the Gibraltar of America.
A series of forts on top of tall cliffs along a river.
At last, Kosciuszko meets his commander-in-chief, General George Washington, who praises him for his extraordinary engineering skills.
Now a rowboat carries two men down a stream.
The revolution moves south, and so does Kosciuszko. He explores the woods and rivers of the Carolinas, seeking the best routes for the army to travel. He builds a fleet of flat-bottomed boats mounted on carriages to move American troops in carefully planned retreats.
Men launch the boats onto a river.
In one of the greatest episodes of the war, the American Army escapes annihilation by crossing the Dan River, leading the forces of Lord Cornwallis on to frustration and to eventual surrender at Yorktown.
Cornwallis clenches a fist and snarls.
In the last months of the war, Kosciuszko finally takes command of a combat regiment. Fighting bravely near Charlestown, he narrowly escapes death from British rifle fire in what becomes the final skirmish of the American Revolution. This, then, was Thaddeus Kosciuszko, the brilliant engineer whose service played so vital a role in the American Revolution, and about whom many years later, President William Henry Harrison would say, "His fame will last as long as liberty remains upon the earth."
Superimposed on Kosciuszko's face, an American flag.